having made 150 not out, and David Garr has been known to make large hundreds in the second innings for England too, once or twice, notably on the subcontinent. And this is a dry pitch which has a slightly subcontinental look about it, as Hughes comes in and bows outside the off stump, but sparks a bit of life out of it there by digging it in short and putting everything into the ball and holding his bat in line with the off stump, just let it go through to wicket-keeper Healy, who goes for a little chat with Taylor and Alderman, who are together. Wonder if Terry Alderman's got a bit of a cold or something, because he did twice go off for a drink and he's blowing his nose at the moment. This is the 19th over of the England innings. 2:42 behind originally as Hughes comes in. Bowles outside the off stump. Quite a quick delivery, padding up, let it go through. It wasn't so very far outside the off stump, but with the slope leaning down towards the tavern side, he felt quite correctly that he was safe to leave that alone. Boards full again for the third day running, a wonderful sight. And that new mound stand, again reminding one rather of a cruise ship full of sunbathing spectators. As the brawny Hughes comes in and bows to Gatting, and Gatting's hit on the pad and appeal for LBW. It did a lot, that, and Gatting was on the front foot, and umpire Bird says no, not this time. I did cut back at Gatting though, it was well bowled. Probably doing too much, I think, Trevor.
Yes, it was a fair shout, hit in front, but he does bowl reasonably wide and he slants it into the batsman quite a long way.
What he'll now try to do, perhaps, is to get one to hold its own and get Gatting play at it and playing at it and get the edge. In comes Hughes, he bowls to Gatting, who goes onto the back foot to this ball, plays it hard down into the ground, is well stopped by Boone at forward short leg. That's the end of the over. There are 4 to go. With England 56 for 3, 16 now to Gatting and 13 to Garr. And I think it would be appropriate to end the day as we began it and give the last few overs of the day to the evergreen 77-year-old Brian Johnson.
And a bowling change has been made, and a surprising one in some respects, because Border has put himself on in preference to his wrist spinner. So we have Border, who's quite a handy little breaker of stands, and of course he's that one remarkable test match on the beach in Australia. But
I'm full of admiration for Border's captaincy.
Oh yes, he's done very well.
And he's not afraid to take, well, you can't call this a risk because he got all these runs in hand, but he's certainly not afraid of innovation. And he's got an attacking field, as you'd expect. He's going to have a slip, a silly point, forward short leg. He's got a long leg. This is for the left-handed Garr, a mid-wicket, a mid-on, a mid-off, extra cover, and a point. He runs up now, bowls over the wicket, the left-handed Garr, who comes forward to that one. Just some dead bat, angles the bat down, it trickles to the left of Taylor in the slips, and there's no run. Taylor in white hat in the slips. Boone with a little cap sticking out of the back of his trousers, looks as if he's a bunny rabbit. Tail, hands on knees, waiting there. And up comes Border again. Bowls this one a bit flat, a bit short, off the back foot, through the covers, a nice looking stroke, being chased by Dean Jones down there. He stops it all right, short of the scoreboard on the tavern side, and the 2 runs to Garr. Not a very good ball, and he played it off the back foot quite safely. And he's gone to 13. Gatting is 16. England are now 58 for 3. Boone has got back into his position now. He's backing up to the throw, and here is Border again, coming back. Another short one off the back foot, hits straight back. This time he goes to mid-off, and it lands for Alderman to pick up as he tries to keep his white hat on. A little bit of a breeze as he left. Here comes Border again. Over the wicket bowls this one, and that's outside the off stump, and it hits the pad, I think, of Gowers, he covered up well outside, and it ricocheted off the wicketkeeper down towards long leg. They can't run for it. He wasn't playing a stroke. Batsman out, Gooch, LBW bowled Alderman for naught. Broad bowled Lawson 20, and Barnett caught Jones bowled Alderman for 3. Wickets falling at naught, 18 and 28. England still in dire trouble, and they're trying to see out tonight. Here is Border running up to bowl to the captain. Gow comes forward that one, and thrusts his pad outside the off stump, and he goes in the hands there of Silly Point, and it's Marsh with his hands on his knees at Silly Point.
He's got to watch it, not playing any shot.
Yeah, otherwise it'd be an almighty cry. Here comes Border again. This time he plays that one because it was just short of a length. He goes back, a rather lazy backstroke, hits it out in the offside, perfectly safely there, fielded by Holmes, and that's the end of the over. 58 for 3.
One thing that the introduction of Border will mean is that the overtime will be very little, because he gets through his overs fairly quickly. We've got 3 overs left, and it's 7 minutes to 6 o'clock, so it's going to be very close to the official time of finish of 6 o'clock.
Yes, England still 184 runs behind. In case you only just switched on, Australia at 403 were out at last for 528. To which Waugh made another not out, 152 not out. Hughes 30, Holmes 21, Lawson 74. Yes, Lawson 74. Up comes Hughes now, bowls to Gatting. That one lifts and he goes up on his toes, keeps up well down, drops down in front of him, fielded by Dean Jones at Silly Point. That was a good ball, that, but Gatting played it well. And Alderman was LBW bowled Embry for 890. Next is 528, a lead of 242. Dilly 34 overs, 2 for 141. Foster, 45 overs, 3 for 129. Jarvis, 31 overs, 1 for 150. Embry, 42 overs, 4 for 88. 12 of them maidens, and Gooch 6 overs, 0 for 9. And it's Hughes running in with those short steps. Now he lengths out, comes past Dickie Bird, bowls. That one again lifts a little bit, but Gatting gets up on his toes, pushes it up to mid-on, and it's fielded by Waugh. Has a good look at the ball. Waugh, who played quite magnificently for his 152. That is 329 minutes, 249 balls, hit 17 fours, and just wanted to go on and on. I mean, this is the sort of chap who one day is going to make 300, because he doesn't seem to bother, doesn't go mad after he's made runs. Remember, he's only batting number 6 now. When he gets promotion, maybe to 4, he'll have longer. So fairly ominous years ahead for England. And up comes this one now outside the off stump and fielded well in the gully, played off the back foot. Marsh getting down to it quite quickly. Hughes pitching it outside the off stump, kept it down, and Marsh fielded 3 slips in the gully, a forward short leg and a Silly Point. Border in the nice luxurious position of being able to have an attacking field the whole time. Plenty of runs to play with. After this there'll just be 2 overs remaining. It'll end up very nearly, I suppose, 3.5 minutes past 6 or 5 past 6. Up comes Hughes again, bowls, and that's a short ball, lifted. Gatting just leant back and went past him, taken there by Healy. No run. Dickie Bird is pacing up and down, looking as if he's dropped something. Yes, Beardus? Oh, no, you've got your glasses up. Field glasses. I thought you were raising your microphone to say something. 58 for 3 on the board. 184 runs still behind. And Hughes, this is his 3rd over. He's gone back. Gatting waits for him with a Silly Point in the short leg. And Hughes comes in slightly sideways. He runs up and now he bowls. And Gatting plays this one. You heard him hit the turf first and then the bat ball, but he went all along the ground, out into the covers, and fielded by Holmes, no run. So Alderman 8 overs, 2 for 23. Remember, he took 5 wickets in each innings up at Headingley, and he took 3 in the first innings here, so he's got 15 wickets in the series. Lawson 9 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 21. And Border just 1 over for 2 runs. And we still see the regular leg spinner, and of course Waugh. Up comes Hughes now, running in from the nursery end, bowls to Gatting. Gatting lets that one go outside the off stump quite a long way. He hasn't got a player stroke, taken there by the wicketkeeper. So there are now 2 overs to be bowled today. England are 58 for 3, and that was very nearly a maiden over. In fact, I think it was 3 overs, 1 maiden, 0 for 8.
Yes, that showed a certain amount of judgment from Gatting, because it was fairly close. But it was, I suppose it was another half set of stumps away, but that's reasonably close when a bowler like Hughes, who slants the ball in to the right-hand batsman. And it's border now to the captain to captain.
Captain to captain, yes. It's very tense over this. Essential for Gar not to get out. His border comes up and bowls to him, and he pads outside the off stump, but he doesn't hit his pad. It's too wide. It's taken by Healy, of course, standing up. Still with a silly point, a slip and a forward short leg. Border bowling over the wicket, sleeves rolled down. Swarthy face, not quite a beard, it's a bit of stubble. Up he runs now, bowls well pitched up outside the off stump, and that one padded away there by Gar, and it trickles up on the offside, and all of them runs up from mid-off to field. 58 for 3, 184 runs behind. Australia all out in the end for 528. At lunch they were 381 for 8. This one is outside the off stump, played off the back foot firmly by Gar, perfectly a reasonable stroke, and is fielded by Alderman. So if Gar can get through this over, England at least would start with two of their premier batsmen still at the crease. Very essential is there to try and save this match. Up comes Border now, over the wicket, bowls. Gar pads there, doesn't play the ball at all, thrusts out that pad, and down the pitch it comes, and Border picks it up, gives it a little bit of polish. This is incidentally the 22nd over of this innings with this ball, and what success they've had. Gooch out for naught. It's terrifying after 2 minutes, first over. Broad bowled Lawson for 20. Barnett caught Jones, bowled Alderman for 3. Away goes Border now, in at an angle, over the wicket, bowls, tossing it up, and Gar hits a full pitch there, and he just angles the bat, so it goes to backward point, fielded by Holmes. And I should think approximately one more ball of this over, and then we shall have one over to bowl. It's just coming up to 6 o'clock here, and the requisite number of overs will have been bowled. 88, so you take off 2 for the interval between innings. Up comes Border now, bowls this one, and that's outside the off stump, and he's padded up again. And Marsh says to umpire Bruce, how's that?
Well, that's where we have to leave Brian Johnston at Lord's. More commentary on Monday at 11:15 and 13:45. A final rundown of the county cricket at Ilford. Warwickshire 315 for 9 against Essex. At Southampton, Hampshire 290 for 3 against Sussex. Paul Terry 91.
And Barnett in the gully. Curtis out in the covers. We haven't seen him there before. Jarvis in. Bowles, Holmes up on his toes, plays it out on the offside. Curtis scampers in and picks it up. And we have Gilly at mid-off with a brand new style in headgear. I never cease to marvel at the number of different ways the white floppy hats can be bent into various shapes, but Dilly has found another new one. I wouldn't have thought that possible. It's turned up at back and front. Jarvis bowls, good one. Well played by Holmes, all defensively. Out to Dilly again. And that really is a most extraordinary way of putting the hat on. Brian Johnson is so utterly carried away by that story of the parrot. He's round the back doing impersonations of everything from Long John Silver to Test Match Special. 351 for 7. Jarvis bowling to Holmes. Holmes comes down on it fairly late, plays it again to Dilly at mid-off, and there's no run. I've been worrying for the past hour about the story Neville Oliver told of the Australian visitor who claims to be the world's greatest beer drinker, or his friends claim for him, Whale Roberts, or Mr. Roberts the Whale. Legendary drinker. Now, I'd like to meet him. Jarvis in, bowls, Holmes turns him off his legs. He'll get 2 runs here. Gower in pursuit, and the Australians know that Gower is not going to do any lightning throwing with that suspect shoulder. He picks it up and trots back with it while they take 2 runs. 15 now to Holmes, 353 for 7. the total. From my own experience of the local brews around here, I'm afraid if Mr. Roberts tries to tackle the world record in these parts, he may well be dead by Monday. Jarvis, back to his mark. There, the parrot is with us again in the background. Jarvis bowls to Holmes. Forward, just a little push on the offside, but Jones is backing up. And Holmes has actually pinched the strike, because that's the last ball of the over. He's 18, the total is 354 for 7.
Well, no real problems again for the Australian batsman here, and David Gower, I think, probably wondering what he needs to do to get a wicket, to start removing these frustrating lower order partnerships, and how well the Australians have played as a team in this series. It really has been a team effort. Whenever a batsman's got in, Dean Jones, Steve Waugh, Mark Taylor, there's always been somebody else to support that batsman, and that's very important.
They are playing together in this series, as this tour as a whole, like a very efficient unit, aren't they?
Yes, they are. Yes. It comes with a touring side. You might expect to do that, of course. This corporate thing snowballs, doesn't it?
It does, yes. But good management, good captain. Embury taking up the attack. That kept a little low, but Holmes was able to wait for it, then whip it away to mid-wicket, and there was a single on. That was just short enough for him to be able to do that. There was no bounce at all in that one. 19 now to Holmes, 355 the total, and Jones, for the first time for a moment or two, has the strike. He's on 131.
The outfield obviously a little bit damp still, because the bowler's needing to wipe the ball almost every delivery now between deliveries, with a rag supplied by Dickie Bird and John Holder at the other end.
Embury back over the wicket to the right-hander. Bowls to Jones. Jones chops it square on the offside. Can't get it past Jarvis, who is at a deepish point. And the ball went towards him at a fairly swift rate. No run, Jones stays on 131. Embury again. Bowls, Jones comes to meet it. And plays it to mid-wicket. Barnett, the fieldsman there, no run. It's always a fascinating little battle of wits between Embury and Jones. What comes this time? Embury rolls it round, holds it back a little. Jones misses it completely, coming down the pitch, takes it on the pad, it runs out on the offside. And Embury employing all kinds of variations, Jones attempting to counter them all, and indeed to take the battle to the enemy. Comes to meet this one, doesn't hit this firmly, tries to swing it on the onside, gets a thickish edge, which sends the ball to backward short leg, and they're able to take a single because there's no fieldsman there, and Russell has to chase after the ball. 132 to Jones, 356 for 7 the total, the only wicket to fall today since play began at 3 o'clock, with interruptions. Hughes caught those and bowled Dilly for 2 when the total was 299. So this 8th wicket pair have now added 57 runs.
John Embury deciding a little change of tactics needed now against the left-hander. He's going to try bowling over the wicket. In fact, John Embury, sometimes when he's bowling over the wicket, manages to get so close in front of the stumps that his arm actually comes over from leg stump and outside.
There we have him bowling to Holmes, who puts the bat firmly to the ball, but only sends it to Gower at silly mid-off. No run. He was one of 3 close catches in position there. 356 for 7 at the end of the over.
So that's the current situation there. A quiet period of play. Jones on 132 not out and Holmes on 19 not out. And quite frankly, in this series so far, Australia has just straightforwardly outplayed England in every single department of the game, in my opinion. Right, I've heard that there's some drizzle going on at the moment.
And they were... after their 55 overs at a state of play of 243 for 7, with Alan Lilly 5 short of his century, 95 not out. And Nottinghamshire, we can now rejoin with some commentary there with Steve Blofeld, and the score is 17-1.
It is Levo once more, running away from us, the pavilion behind him. He's situated, now he bowls, broads forward, letting it away down to Pritchard at mid-wicket.
The run rate is now crept above 5, Henry. Start of this over, 4.
Well, this is what Essex will be trying to do, to get it up over 6. You must be very pleased with the way you're
Yes, I think they bowled very well, very steadily. They bowled straight, they bowled a line, they bowled a length. They've done everything which has been required of them.
Vast experience, both of them, but particularly in John Lever. Here he is now, running in, up to the wicket, a final leap. He bows his short and broad. He's brilliantly caught. He's brilliantly caught there. Behind the Garnham, he cut at that. It was a little bit wider. He really slashed at it, and Garnham went to his left, caught it one-handed as he rolled over. A really brilliant piece of work. And Nottinghamshire have lost their second wicket. Broad is out. Caught there by Garnham, off Lever for 6. 17 for 2 is the score. Robinson not out 8, but what a marvellous catch, Trevor.
It was a magnificent catch. He went for the cut. He's always a better runner, really, than a cutter, Broad. He's a big man. Not at his best, I don't feel, probably today. The bowling has been extremely tight. The key figure, to my way of thinking, has always been from the Nottingham end, Robinson. I think he's in these conditions, the best bat. He's very well equipped. He's got the stroke.
And up to mid-on, didn't actually middle it. Cook bows outside the leg stump. The ball cannons up off the pads of Lawson. I'm sure that wasn't a chance. Gower had silly mid-off, leapt up, and the crowd thought it might have been, but I think it'd come off the pads. Cook again, just bowling into the rough just outside leg stump at the moment, and that's chipped up in the air past Smith. A really brilliant short leg, might have made that into a catch. Tony Locke perhaps.
I don't think he would.
Don't think even he.
No, I think he would have been doing some of Robin Smith getting out of the way.
Although he didn't really hit that very hard, Lawson. He sort of chipped it past him up to mid-wicket. Cook bows again as outside the leg stump. Lawson goes to sweep. The ball pitches in the rough and goes down to short fine leg, and it's picked up by Graham Gooch. And that is the end of the over. So Cook aiming at that leg stump for 35 for 9 at the end of the over. Lawson 9 and Alderman 3.
Well, the one thing for certain is ensured that England will not have any torment this evening. If the wicket falls, there will not be time, of course, with only 7 minutes to go. Once again, you see, 12 runs have been added in a very short time by these two tail-enders, and they're 12 very valuable runs because Australia now go 175 ahead on the first innings, which is a substantial lead. It's still a big lead.
My word, it is. Well, here comes Fraser. Try and make it no bigger, but possible run there for Alderman, but you probably heard him yelling no as Lawson was looking for the run. He played it more or less straight to Curtis, who'd anticipated well, actually a move to his right at wide mid-on. Curtis, who took that fine catch. Hooked up off the splice by Waugh, and he caught it very well over his head. Waugh out for 92. In goes Fraser from the Stretford end, runs away from us, bowls to Alderman, who's giving himself a little bit of room here to hit it away off the back foot, and the ball bounces up to mid-off where it's fielded by Embry. Not cleanly, as a matter of fact, but it didn't matter because he got his body behind it. We've been negligent in not thanking John and Sandra Atkins for their very kind gift of fudge from the Alderney Island, Channel Island of Alderney, where I dare say they know John Arlott. In goes Fraser and Bowles on the off stump, and that's turned away by Alderman for another run to mid-wicket, and he could come back for a second here. They ponder it, but Lawson was keener on it than Alderman. Alderman looking just to improve his test average a little bit here, perhaps.
I don't think Terry Alderman was too keen on getting back down there. It was too easy.
Well, really. But he doesn't want to end it with a run out, and I don't blame him. And he probably reckons that Lawson's that much more competent a batsman. 4:36 for 9, Alderman now 4. Fraser Bowles to Lawson on the off stump. Lawson goes back and plays it up to mid-off, and Embry, looking a little bit tired, moves to his right and just gets there in time. And not surprisingly, because he's bowled a little matter of 45 overs, John Embry. 45 overs, 9 maidens, 1 for 118. Don Mosey will be giving his summary at close of play, so he'll be giving you the full scorecard. Then goes Fraser and Bowles to Lawson, who goes back and places up to mid-on. Fraser just not getting him onto the front foot. And fielded by Curtis. Bill, sorry, you said how many Embry's bowled today?
22 today, 23 yesterday.
Thank you. So I suppose the feet are a little bit sore, and I dare say the spinning finger too. The index finger of his right hand. Of course, in goes Fraser. Approaches umpire Hampshire. Nice high action. He bowls to Lawson, who seemed to sense that was going to be a rather hostile delivery, because he played it from approximately a yard outside his leg stump, or rather was in position to do something with it.
So Australia on 436 for 9, perhaps.
And Lilly at mid-wicket, and ends up with his one leg stretched out in front of him, but he managed to stop the ball. He almost did Meanwhile, Gooch has gone back and comes running in again, and bowls again on the leg stump. Robinson absolutely repeats the same shot, and again it goes to Lilly, and this time he stands up straight and fields it. I've lost. Pollard LBW to Lever for 2, getting frustrated into swinging across the line and missing a pull. And Broad caught by Gardner off Lever for 6. Marvellous figures, 2 for 15, as Gooch gets a little inside edge from Robinson's bat onto the pad, stifled with the field. Ball goes out in the off. As class player as anybody today, I would suggest, although he's only got 17 runs.
He's a very good player.
You know, I think, Trevor, he probably ought to have been playing against Australia all this summer. Gooch comes in from the nursery and the bowls to Robinson, and Robinson goes forward and places up to mid-on.
He's a better batsman than one or two have. I think the only time he's looked really vulnerable was in the West Indies, on the very fast pitches against very fast bowling, and he kept on tripping onto his stumps there. But he's a highly competent batsman. He's got all the shots, and he's very well organised.
In comes Gooch and Bowles, and that's attempted swing towards the square leg boundary by Robinson. It was outside the leg stump. He made no contact. The ball hit his pads and bounced out on the onside. So 31 for 2. I've asked Bill if he would to check in his book on English Test cricket what Tim Robinson's Test figures are. I suspect that they're greatly depressed by his experiences against the West Indies, and I don't think you'd pick him again against the West Indies, but he did play jolly well against Australia last time.
Yes, he plays very straight. In the West Indies, the problem was that he kept on dragging the ball onto his stumps with a slight angle back from just outside the stumps, and to be clean bowled. Well, he wasn't clean bowled, but he was bowled off the inside edge, which meant, of course, he wasn't properly in line and was fairly fatal.
So, Nottinghamshire 31 for 2 of 16 overs, chasing that Essex total of 243, which I've got my calculator out. It means
getting a wicket before tea. In comes Embry and Bowles outside the off stump, and nudged down by the left-handed hands to short third man where Gooch is fielding. So the one run came off it, and it will be war to face. 363 for 6. But Foster it is who's made the breakthrough, and well done him.
If there are 5 bowlers in the team, you have 5 options, don't you? Yeah. Sometimes you're going to get it right, and sometimes you're going to get it wrong. But Foster's actually deserved this little bit of success, because I think he's bowled. I didn't think he bowled quite so well yesterday, but today he's been very consistent in the line that he's bowled and in the length that he's bowled.
So Neil Foster is now in with a chance of a Test hat-trick. And the question was posed over the dinner table the other night, who got the first hat-trick after the war in Test cricket? But let's see if Foster can get one now as he runs in from the stretch-foot end. Over the wicket he bowls to War, and War plays him out off, I think, a mixture of bat and bat out to mid-wicket. No run, but Foster given every encouragement by the crowd, as I'm sure you heard. Border eventually caught by Russell off Foster for 80, having batted for 266 balls and for 311 minutes. And Healy then LBW to his first ball. Foster bowls to War, well pitched up, and War plays it out. Almost played a bit too soon at that, and the bat seemed to be getting there a bit before the pad, and he was in danger of perhaps lifting that up towards extra cover, but he managed to keep it down, and Robinson fielded. So just a little tinge of light at the end of the tunnel for England. Certainly would be if they could get War out, but we've said that often enough in this series. Foster bowls to War, War drives it to mid-off, wants to run, it isn't there. Gar closing on the ball, and he's pretty accurate, Gar, underarm. In fact, he hasn't been as accurate in this series as he usually is, but I've seen him run many a batsman out throwing underarm from fairly close range, and that would have been an extremely risky single. And a little sigh there from War. You could see his shoulders heave. He's concentrating, he knows that he's in a very responsible position here. Foster bowls to him and he goes forward, plays it hard into the ground, the ball bounces up just past the stumps at this end, and Fraser making ground quickly to his left, losing his England cap in the process, stops the ball. I saw Ken Cranston, who didn't actually get a hat-trick, but I think took 3 wickets and 4 balls, didn't he, in Test cricket. Once, I saw him a few minutes ago in the tea interval, and he said how much he was enjoying watching Steve Waugh, and that he reminded him rather of the great Stan McCabe. Up comes Foster, bowls a good length ball outside the off stump. Waugh doesn't play a stroke. It was a bit wide even for Waugh to chase, much as he loves to square drive.
I think it was more than that, it was exactly the right length, and he just showed a little bit of respect to that delivery. Had something to do with the fact that the 2 wickets have just gone down too, I think, Chris.
Quite a lot to do with it, yes. Otherwise, I think it might have been bruising a boundary ball.
A bit of a lash at it.
In goes Foster again. The sun now out. Passed up by Hampshire. He bowls to War. War goes back and edges this. Past second slip. It was all along the ground. No question of a chance. Both of them dived to his left. Took the pace off the ball and gooched the ball.
A lot better position than we were half an hour ago. 2 wickets and 2 deliveries by Neil Foster has rejuvenated the England side. And in fact, when they grabbed those 2 wickets, I do detect a certain spring in some of the players' feet as they step and run. There seems to suddenly a little urgency of coming to the England side. They realise that if they can get rid of Steve Waugh, they might bowl Australia out tonight. Because if they don't, they can say goodbye to this game.
Yep, this is a vital stage. It's England's last chance, really. Foster bowls and Waugh plays a majestic-looking stroke, but doesn't quite middle it and hits it hard into the ground, and it bounces out to Robinson at extra cover. Waugh leaping in the air there as he played that stroke off the back foot.
Yeah, you see, if you're bowling at this fellow Waugh, what I've noticed about him, Chris, you've got to bowl really straight at him. Don't give him any room outside that off stump to play, because if you do, he'll murder you. You've got to chuck him up a little bit.
Yes, quite right. Foster bowls to him now. That leaves Waugh, but he plays it down past the gully. It was bounced, I think, before it went past Botham's right hand, and it goes down to third man, where Cook fields. 1 more to Waugh. And Waugh, actually, throughout this series, has not in any way ever tried to farm the bowling, has he? He's shown complete faith in the tail.
Oh, yes, he has. And I suppose when a batsman the class of Waugh does that, I suppose it gives the other batsman confidence as well.
Yes.
But if I was bowling this fella, I'd bowl his off the middle. I wouldn't bowl outside off stump. I wouldn't give him room.
Right, 370 for 6, and it's Foster now to Holmes. And, that doesn't miss the leg stump by much, as Holmes had come across his stumps and tried to leg glance, made no contact, but by the time the ball reached Russell, with the angle of delivery, it was in line with the leg stump. 370 for 6. Duncan Gardner has written to me from Cardiff and defined a cricketer's dream. In comes Foster, and this is played out to mid-wicket. A village cricketer's dream, Fred, this. How about this? To play at Hambledon, the cradle of the game, and at Lord's within a fortnight. And it could happen to St Fagans, who are in the last 8 of the St Fagans, they call themselves, thank you, Bill, the village championship. And they've got to play. In comes Foster and Bowles. Hampshire's hand just removes a pedal from one hand to a pocket, but it looked for a second as though he was going to give him out. I think it must just have pitched outside. I don't know.
I think it possibly pitched on about a minute or so. I think he might have missed leg stump. Might have pitched leg a minute.
370 for 6. That's right. Yes. St Fagans play Goatee Cup on Sunday, July the 30th. In comes Foster, and that's again hits the pads of Holmes. That was definitely missing leg stump, and they get a leg by as the ball runs down to find leg. And therefore, again, Waugh perfectly content to take the run, even though it means he won't have faced for 7 or 8 balls. 371 for 6. Yes, that's...
I wonder if are Beaver still in that competition?
I think the Toft beat them the other day, yes, I'm sure they did. Toft were Jeff Fuller's home village, not very far from here, in fact.
The little village Beaver between Grantham and Nottingham somewhere. It's down that way, isn't it?
That's right. That's Hambledon, Hampshire, of course. St Fagans play Goataker, who are the holders, and St Fagans have won the competition as well in the past.
It's a great thrill to walk out of Lord's, I can tell them that, because to me it's still one of my favourite grounds, you know, the history and the nostalgia. I suppose basically you could say it is part of our heritage, isn't it? Lord's cricket ground now. It's a marvellous place. So. I love it. I love going to Lord's.
Yeah, nothing quite like it. Now a really attacking field as Embry Bowles to Holmes, who plays this just on the offside of the wicket. And a field... that one might have seen here in 1956 for Jim Laker bowling, because there are 3 men on the offside. This might have been the field to Harvey or Mackay as Embry bowls, and that's played away through Robin Smith at silly mid-on.
He also had a leg slip.
To the left-hander, did he?
Oh.
Yeah. And where did you field to the left-handers?
I wasn't. I was 12th man.
Of course you were, Fred. I always forget that.
Well, I had a bad game, is he? I only got 9 wickets.
In comes Embry, and that's played away to mid-off, and a sliding stop by Cook denies Holmes runs. Might have been a run there, actually, if he'd really gone for it, but he decided not to, so Trevor Holmes still to get off the mark.
I was a bit upset I didn't play in that game.
Well, they thought he was going to spin a bit. In comes Embry and Bowles, and that is padded away by Holmes and out on the offside. But we've got both of them at first slip, Gooch at about 3rd, and Gar at silly mid-off, and then Smith at silly mid-on. So Holmes has really got plenty of company to talk to. Embry bowls him, gives that air, well bowled, but Holmes plays it well too, playing it out on the offside.
Yeah, I remember that because I'd played at Lord's. I don't know whether I got 7 or 9 wickets in the match. Then I played at Headingley and it rained. I only bowled about 5 overs and I got 2 wickets. Colin MacDonald both times.
Embry Bowles gives that a lot of air. Holmes plays forward. It bounces up off his toes, caught by Gower. And Embry appeals for LBW, but I think a little optimistically. Barry Mehra is unimpressed, and therefore Holmes remains at the crease, not out. At the other end, Waugh, 62 not out, is going to face for the first time for some while. 371 for 6. I'll let Fred continue to remember that good old day of 1956 and call in. Who shall I call in? Well, how about Don Mersey?
And I've done, I don't know why I got 7 wickets, 9 wickets at Lord's against Australia. And then I played at Leeds and I think I got Colin MacDonald in both innings. I only bowled 4 to 5 overs of rain and Locke and Laker bowled them out. And I came to Old Trafford and was made 12th man.
And here's Foster. Bowls to Waugh, who plays him straight. It's really a firm defensive push, but He's going to get at least 3 runs for it. And 3 it is. The score moves up to 374 for 6. And 65 now. It's the war. Just rushed into action there from a word game when we were still counting up. Could be quite interesting. Have a look in a moment. Foster is having a good spell late in the day here. Goes now to the left-handed Holmes, who waves a fairly airy bat round the corner and doesn't make any contact. The ball goes through to Russell, who once again has been very much a star of the show.
While you're counting up, Don, I just put Fred out of his misery. You got 7 wickets at Lord's in that 1956 test, and then you got MacDonald out, as you said, in each innings of the 3rd one, and were 12th man for the 4th.
Didn't pick me for the Oval and picked the side of South Africa and left me at home.
That's right.
And here's Foster. And there's an appeal for LBW as he aims a big blow, but he's totally unconcerned about it, and John Hampshire is not impressed. A few hands went up there because there's no doubt that Foster has his tail up. 2 wickets in 2 balls. Then he had to wait till the start of the next over to attempt the hat-trick, and Bold produced an absolutely excellent delivery, but unfortunately couldn't get it through Waugh's defences. Won't get much closer to a hat-trick. Outside the off-stumpy bowls, and dabbed away by Holmes, who doesn't time the dab at all, looking to steer it down towards 3rd man, and finds the ball going to backward short leg. Foster working up a bit of pace too, in relative terms at any rate. Still a bit dull. We've had some sunshine. No reason why we shouldn't go through to close of play as Foster bowls again, and it takes Holmes on the pad outside the line of the leg stump and leaves Holmes limping just slightly. Perhaps got it on the inside of the pad. It sounded as though it hit the pad. Good firm thwack. No appeal. Holmes yet to get off the mark. Foster bowls to him from the Stretford end. Tries again to turn it on the leg side, and it's rather a clumsy sort of gesture. Once again, he doesn't make contact, and that completes Foster's over. Australia 374 for 6, are 114 runs on, and Foster's figures now 32 overs, 12 maidens, 2 for 67.
And we'll be to 1. And it poured down through the lunch break, but the ground staff here did a terrific job in lifting the covers as Waugh plays away in defence out towards extra cover again. And there's no run. I think we lost 13 overs in all, did we? 13 overs, lost 54 minutes. But I can assure you that at one stage it looked a lot more threatening than that. In comes Cook again. He bowls to Steve Waugh, and Waugh uses his feet. He clips down the track and then pushes the ball in defence out towards Gower. It's not really a full flourishing shot with the bat. He was looking to get to that, and maybe Cook saw him coming. In comes Cook again. No, he doesn't. Well, he does, but he doesn't let the ball go. That's number 3, and number 4, is it? I've got 3 out of the 4. It must be very off-putting for the batsman as the bowler runs in and suddenly the ball hasn't arrived. In he comes again. The arm goes over the ball. He releases and it's driven away square of the wicket on the offside by Waugh. Smith is after it. I don't think he'll get to that. It's approaching the rope. Will he dive and stop it? He does. Excellent piece of work by Robin Smith, who hits the fence, gets back to his feet and throws an excellent return back into the keeper. Marvellous bit of work. Meanwhile, back in the centre, the batsmen have helped themselves to 3 runs. But a wonderful bit of work by Robin Smith. He had to dart out to the boundary, I suppose, all of 55, 60 yards, and just all of that to prevent a 1, and that's team-lifting stuff. 6 for 409, Waugh 83, and Holmes on 15.
And that at 20 past 5 and 409 for 6. Lovely to see it.
And he snatches the helmet and goes into forward short leg now, so he's really in the thick of things, Robin Smith, and we were just mentioning a little while ago that he was geeing up the bowlers, so 143 and some good team-lifting stuff here as Cook bowls over the wicket, this time to Holmes. It takes him on the pad and balloons from pad to David Gower. That silly point, there's no run. Now, one of that cordon's been taken out. Now we've got a forward short leg, we've got a silly point and a slip. A backward point, an extra cover and a mid-off. As Cook bowls to Holmes, and Holmes cuts. That's a good shot. He loves to play that shot, and they're just about feeding him on that strength that he's revealing. Embury escorts the ball most of the way out to the boundary, knowing that the batsmen were going to take a comfortable 2. He throws a fine return in, but really was powerless to stop the scoring. Australia go to 411 for the loss of 6. And the makeup of that with the not-out batsman, Waugh is 17. Holmes is 17 and Stephen Waugh is on 83. So at 6 for 411, I'll leave you with Robin Jackman, and to follow me will be Brian Johnson.
The stroke that Steve Waugh played there after the boundary that Robin Smith did so well to stop was really one of very high class. He went down the wicket to Cook. Cook fired a little bit wide, and he just allowed the ball to come to him and laid it off in the gap between the fielders.
Well, Bertham comes up now, bowls this one, and that one lifted a little bit, and Waugh just popped that up. It went just in front of Gully, and so that was good ball from Bertham, getting it just to lift a little bit, and Waugh had to keep it down, did well to keep it down. It dropped us down in front of Gully there, Robinson, so the score 411 for 6. 411, what's that conjure up? Edgbaston, Cowdrey and May. These figures come to mind as one looks back. Here is Bertham now, coming up and bowls this one outside the leg stump, and it's turned away around the corner, down to long leg, and they're going to take a second run. Fraser throws the ball back, and there's a nice throw right over the stumps, and 2 more runs then to Waugh. Takes him up to 85, and the score 413 for 6. And the men out today, Jones bowled Bertham 69, and then we had Border caught Russell bowled Foster 80, and then Healy, LBW bowled Foster North, 2 balls in succession. Yes, Bearders.
51 partnership, and the 50 coming up in 1 hour.
Well done. And here is Bertham now, coming up against Bowser, who plays this one, and it goes not quite as he expected, playing it through the covers and hoping to get the gap, but it didn't go very fast. He slightly mistimed it, and it was fielded by Guard, extra cover, and there's no run. Didn't quite go through with that one, slightly more flat-batted than going through vertically. Here is Botham running up again. Off this short run of his, comes in, bowls to Waugh. Waugh plays a nice-looking ordinary forward defensive stroke once again. Scar running in from cover to field. So Foster, 33 overs, 12 maidens, 2 for 69. Had a spell of 8 overs, 2 for 18 when he bowled particularly well. Fraser, 33 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 90. And Embry, 45 overs, 9 maidens, 1 for 118. How often he's taken 1 or 2 for big numbers like that in Test cricket. Mrs. Bertham's 23rd over. 2 for 57. Waits as Bertham comes up. Waugh turns this one, and he hasn't found the gaps. He's gone straight to mid-wicket, and there won't be a run there. Fielded by Robin Smith. Cook, 23 overs, 6 maidens, 0 for 67. So not too satisfactory reading for the England bowlers, but very consistent batting by Australia. 85, 47, 12, 80, 69, not out 85, Norton 17. Here's Botham trotting away from us. Bowls to Waugh. Waugh plays this one again with that not quite Norton off drive, a sort of, I suppose he might have thought of hard. That one is caught by Gar. Caught at silly point. He pushed forward to it. Gar, I think, clasped it to his navel as he fell over backwards. But that's a wicket. I've been getting a few wickets today. And Holmes has caught Gar, bowled Cook, and he's out for 17. And Australia are 413 for 7. So a slight prospect, not a very big one, of England possibly having to bat tonight, but I would think they've got to get 3 wickets still.
Well, I'm so pleased David Gower's caught one there, John. He's been there all day.
I know, and I've been saying, why is he standing there? So snubs to me.
No, not really, because it was the off-spinner that you were complaining about.
Yeah, I was,
not the left-arm spinner.
Yes.
So I'll get you out of that one.
Thank you, decent chap.
But nice little bit of bowling by Cook. It's nice to see him getting on the score sheet. Trevor Holmes pushed really quite firmly at that, and Gower managed to hold it into his tummy.
There's Cook again. Bowling to use a faster one, and he bowled him. He tried to do it again, and and he bowled him a quicker one, bowled him a leg stump there. Good bit of bowling by Cook. He thought he'd probably tried. Why he wanted to play like X, he can play perfectly respectfully. Anyhow, he is out. Hughes bowled by Cook to give Cook his second wicket, and the score now is 423 for 8. Hughes bowled Cook for 3. Not a great stroke, Fred.
Well, not a very sensible innings, was it? The way he was wafting and whacking. I mean, you would have thought that he would have said, well, I'll try to bowl properly. Try to bat properly, because there's Steve Waugh at the other end on 92.
Exactly.
Another 30 or 40 runs from the tail end with Waugh at the other end. The lead over England becomes 200. It puts them into a very, very commanding position. I thought it was a shocking innings. The way he got out of it, there was no consideration with the guy at the other end at all. He should be trying to play. See, the ball pitched outside the leg stump, and he moved his pad out of the way, trying to paddle it round the corner. It was very bad, really. Well, if there's two of you, one writing them down, yeah.
Jones was out for 69, Healy for 0, Holmes for 17, Hughes for 3, and Border for 80. There's the chaps out today, and it's Fraser running away from us now to bowl the Waugh. Up he comes, bowls this one, and this is on middle and leg and pushed up to mid-on. They won't get another run there. The field now up to save the singles. 2 balls to go this over. Robin Smith fielding there at mid-on. 423 for 8. The five England's 260. Alan Moss. Well, he was in the photographic business, and the others weren't. Photographic printing. Up comes this one now from Fraser. He's hooked that down, and it's gone over from mid-wicket. And a marvellous catch there by Curtis at mid-wicket. It looks as if it gone over his head. He flung himself up in the air. Now that could be a champagne moment, because that was a tremendous catch. And Fraser's got him out again. Paul Waugh going out for 92. Caught Curtis, bowled Fraser for 92, and Australia are 423 for 9. And the man, he fell over backwards and then did a backwards somersault. For me, so far, that's the champers moment of the game. And his average has dropped now to 242.5. Well, there we are. I don't know how many wickets today, but that was the best. Good catch.
It was a good catch, yes. But I shall disagree on the champagne moment, because he didn't hit the ball. It came off the splice. It looped hard. Didn't hit it very hard. But it was a very good catch by Tim Curtis. I'm not taking anything away from him. Very good catch indeed. Fully alerted. With only 20 minutes to go, I've been in the field all day, and he was so alert was Tim Curtis, leaping high to take that catch. But it wasn't hit with any power.
Oh, yes, I've seen...
But I shall disagree. I shall beg to differ in the voting.
I've seen a good many hard hits to mid-wicket, my dear. I can't think of a harder one than that one. But with that thought, I'll leave you as Mr. Martin Jenkins takes over as Alderman comes to the crease with the possibility that England might have 5 minutes batting tonight.
Well, you go away and try to find out the answer to that question. And you haven't got it, but I don't think Bill would know the answer to this one, but he hasn't. I don't think
you could add John Waugh to it as well, couldn't you? And you could add.
Yeah, but there's a specific answer, you see.
Oh yeah.
One of the answers I've accepted, that Brian Statham batted that left-hander, but there is another answer.
Oh, I see. It's not the answer. It's left-handed.
No, that's one answer.
Right. Well, the score is 423 for 9.
And Alan Moss is the odd one out in the next question, in the same question, but why?
Moss, Statham, Tyson, you said. Well. He wasn't born in Lancashire.
Well done, Chris. I didn't expect Jonas to get that.
Quite
Tyson and Statham both born in Lancashire.
Up comes Cook from the Warwick Road Embers outside the leg stump, and Lawson demoted to number 11, having got 70 in a test match at Lord's 2 tests ago. Makes you think, doesn't it? Sweeps at that, and the ball lobs up, and it came up off the grill of his helmet. And Lawson is smiling. He's all right. I think that hurt him a little less than when it was hit in the face by a ball in the Australian summer from Curtly Ambrose. But that one did bobble up and just hit him in the helmet. He got very low to hit it, and it bounced a bit out of the rough. So Cook is having a very successful evening session here, as indeed are England. 423 for 9. Cook left arm round the wicket, bowls to Lawson, gives that air to, and Lawson goes forward and plays it into Gower's hands at silly point. And sooner or later, England had to have a good session, and I suppose this has been their best of the season so far.
Yeah, yes, I would agree with that too.
Cook comes in between umpire Mayer and the stumps, and bowls just outside the leg stump, and Lawson sweeps again. This time he connects with bat rather than the grill of his helmet and gets 2 runs down to fine leg. Embry comes into field and hurls the ball at the base of the stumps for once rather than the top where he normally throws it, and it's taken by Russell. 425 for 9. This is the 74th over of the second new ball, and Cook comes in again from the Warwick Red. There's a slightly quicker ball, but flatter, and Lawson plays it comfortably back up the pitch. But the job is not finished until the last man is out. And I said earlier how rarely England had knocked over the tail in recent years. Cook bowls from round the wicket. Lawson drives, and Cook feels off his own bowling, just as well he did too, because there was no mid-off behind him. He's got a long off. And Cook, I think, was a little surprised to find there that he hadn't got a man. I think he thought that he'd got an orthodox mid-off, and he sort of fielded it only half-heartedly, thinking there'd be a man behind it. But now he's asked Gower to bring up mid-off and mid-on. And here he is, bowling to Lawson, who drives it away through the covers for 4 runs. It's a good shot. Curtis is after it, but won't catch that. So Lawson, I said that Lawson was number 11 because he's number 10, in fact. He has been demoted from his Lord's position, but a good shot, that one. That takes the score to 429, and this in reply to England's 260. So although it's been a good session for England, Australia are in a cast-down position. Pretty nearly, anyway.
Oh, they're in a very good position. What is it, 169 ahead? But not as I don't think it's as a good a position as they would like to have been in. I think they would like to have been somewhere between 450, 500, and really sewn it up. But you were talking about bowling the tail end. Now, you see, in this Test series, that has been the significant point.
Yes.
Failed to bowl the tail enders. I mean, how many runs did they put on at Lords? A couple of hundred or something, the tail enders, and the same at Headingley, you see. England's failure to bowl out the tail let Australia into the driving seat. And they're not going to, I know Australians too well, they ain't going to let go.
And how many times has it happened in recent years? It's happened time and again. This
because the failure to be able to pitch the ball, of course, it.
Right, well, let's hope Fraser can knock over Alderman now as he bowls a little bit. Well, it was on a good length, possibly a fraction short of good length. Anyway, Alderman came forward and played it quite confidently and competently up to mid-off, where it was fielded by Embry. Fraser with 2 for 90, so his figures would look much better if he could knock over the number 11 here. I don't mean that physically, I mean knock over his stumps. That's what he should be trying to do. Cook 2 for 78, by the way, after 26 overs and 6 maidens now. Fraser from the Stretford end runs away past umpire John Hampshire and bowls to Alderman, who plays a confident stroke off the back foot and gets probably 3 runs for this. Embry's after, and they turn for the 3rd run. And Embry, in fact, doesn't field cleanly even when he gets to the ball. None of which will please Angus Fraser, and he was just a little bit too short there. Surely must be trying to bring Alderman onto the front foot, but now it's going to be Lawson that he'll be bowling to. 4:32 for 9. A train with 3 carriages pulls into Warwick Road Station just by the scoreboard at that far end of the ground as we look up out from our high position up at the Stretford end, watching the tall figure of Angus Fraser moving in, bowling with his high action, again a little bit short, and Lawson going back to it, plays it up the pitch, and Fraser feels off his own bowling. And There are 2 slips in the gully. If Fraser can just pitch it up and get Lawson either pushing forward or driving and perhaps get the outside edge. 10 minutes to go until the clock says 6 o'clock. In comes Fraser and bowls, and that is a better ball. Lawson goes forward to it and plays it just to the right of Robinson in the gully. Robinson stops it but not cleanly, deflects the ball on, and they take a single to take the score to 33 for 9 and Lawson up to 7. Now, we haven't given you the statistics of Steve Waugh's. 92, 202 minutes, 174 balls, 7 fours. It was a less dominant innings than his other big innings this season, but his average is now 242.50. Fraser bowls to Alderman, and Alderman goes back and plays it crisply and confidently up to mid-on, and the ball fielded by Curtis. There'll be time for Fred, no doubt, to just ponder as to how this wicket is playing and what chances England